The Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe is one of the biggest races in the horse racing world. Compared to the Kentucky Derby or Japan Cup, it's considered one of the most prestigious races in horse racing. It's typically a 2,400-meter race in France, and a horse from outside tea-sipping Europe has never even won it once. Why has a horse from outside of Europe never won? Well, consider that the race takes place in France and is the biggest race in France. French trainers train specifically for this particular race, which is why, as of this year, 69 winners of the Arc have been trained in France. Because of course it would be 69, why wouldn't it be? Germany, Great Britain, Ireland, and Italy make up the other 34 wins, which is just under half of France's total wins. It's probably the same reason why in the 150-year history of the Kentucky Derby, only 4 winners have been trained outside of America, with 2 being from Great Britain and 2 from Canada, which in the latter's case I don't imagine would have the same issues as sending an American horse to Japan, for example. The Japan Cup is also dominated by Japanese racehorses, but not as significantly as the other 2 examples. Actually, the first 2 winners of the Japan Cup were horses foaled and trained in the US. There hasn't been a non-Japanese winner since 2005, though. There are turf and soil differences to consider as well, so if you're not specifically training for that big race, it's hard to compete in. Plus, it costs a lot of money to move a horse overseas, and most horse owners just don't see the value in it. For our purposes, the Arc is a focal point in Umamusume in seasons 1 and 3, as we see El Condor Pasa and Silent Suzuka training for the Arc, with the former actually going there and losing dramatically while the latter gets injured and is prevented from taking part dramatically. In season 3, we see Satono Diamond traveling worldwide in an attempt to win the Arc, to break the Satono family jinx in the most boisterous way possible, but losing once again dramatically as seen in newspaper form. In season 1, we get introduced to Furuya, who for JoJo's level reasons couldn't appear in the anime with her real-life name, Monja. And I thought Machikane Fukutaru was hard. Monjo is also the winner of the 1999 Arc, which is also the race that El Condor Pasa took second in after leading up into the last 100 meters in real life. Just like in real life, Monjo would also lose in the Japan Cup to Special Week. There's also the Project Lark scenario, whose final race is famously really hard to win. At least I, with my tin of Smokehouse almond-sized brain and inability to have SSRs over rank 2, have never won the final race, which is, of course, the Arc. The game itself doesn't even expect you to win, considering the final goal is just to participate in it. In the Project Lark scenario in the game, we're also introduced to Venus Park, who's theorized to be based off of Trev, considered to be one of the best in the Arc after having won twice, and Rigantona believed to be based off of Dancing Brave, who won in 1986. But what about our own Umamusume friends? Even though the Arc started in 1920, it wouldn't be until 1969 when the first Japanese racehorse to make an attempt, Speed Simbali, made the trek over and lost. I couldn't find records on the 1969 race, so I don't know how much he lost by, but it was probably because he rested when his gauge was active. In 1986, Siri Simbali made the trek over and lost to Dancing Brave, or Rigantona as we've gone over. He didn't make it very high, placing 14th. El Condor Pasa spent a few months training in France for the Arc, picking up a few wins in France and made the attempt in 1999, but lost to Mancha as we've already gone over. 2002 saw Manhattan Cafe race in the Arc. Starting off in 7th place, he fell behind and ended up finishing in 13th. This would also be Cafe's final race. Tap Dance City went to France in 2004. City competed for the lead in the first stage of the race, but ended up falling the rest of the way after the first corner, ultimately coming in 17th. In 2010, Nakayama Festa competed and came in 2nd place by a head to Workforce of Great Britain. Festa went back the following year, but dropped all the way down to 11th place, this time 1 place above Workforce. I, for one, can't wait for the anime where, since both of them are struggling, they just treat it as a race amongst themselves. 2012's field was said to be tough competition, as Orfever was in the top 2 favorites to win, but lost his lead in the home straight to Salemia. Orfever would get another 2nd place finish in the following year, falling to Trev in his first of 2 consecutive victories. Funny Horse Goldship got off to a rough start after being spooked by the proceedings in 2014 and finishing in 14th place after never really getting going. This is the most lore-accurate thing I've ever said. Satono Diamond traveled to Europe in 2017 and never really found any success there in training. Dia placed 15th in the Arc, placing just above fellow Satono family member Satono Noblesse. And finally, the most recent Japanese horse with Umamusume ties to race in the Arc was Blast One Piece in 2019, placing 2nd to last in 11th place. Seeing as how Blast's odds were 58 to 1, I don't think there was a lot of hope here. Most of these characters also have scenario links with the Project Lark scenario in the game, and Goldship and Satono Diamond even have character alts reflecting their participation. Several other Japanese racehorses also participated in the Arc who haven't been introduced to the game yet, but there are also a few European horses with ties to Umamusume characters. In 1970, a Canadian-bred British Triple Crown horse named Nijinsky almost won the Arc but lost in the last second. Nijinsky is Maruzensky's sire. 1972 had Reichschauer's grandsire Roberto compete in the Arc. 1988 saw Air Groove, Winning Ticket, and Jungle Pocket sire, as well as Tosin Jordan's grandsire Tony Bin compete in the Arc. Not only that, but Dancing Brave is King Halo's sire, and Trev is Mancha's granddaughter. Will we ever see a Japanese horse win the Arc and have a whole anniversary event dedicated to their release in Umamusume? I'd say if this race goes well, then they have a good chance. Oh, look at that.